Hey everyone, Nate here, and this is going to be day one of the microgreens course. So I'll just explain what's going on. We're here in my grow room, my office for my farm, and we've got a lot to cover this week. I'm basically just going to take you through everything I'm doing throughout the week and explain everything and try and get multiple camera shots on all the chores and everything. This is a room in our house that I built into this grow room, so I have an exterior door here. But there's also a door back to the old house. So if you hear, sometimes you'll hear kids screaming. We have a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old, so you'll hear them screaming. So don't mind that. There's nothing I can do about that. And I hope my camera works all right. I'm definitely not a professional videographer, so I'm going to try my best. So yeah, we're starting on day one. This is Sunday, and everything's looking pretty clean. Mostly cleaned up everything before we went on vacation. So you're starting from scratch, and we'll end up cleaning up a couple times throughout the program as well. So you'll get to see that process and everything. But yeah, this is the grow room. I'm gonna have the dehumidifier turned off when I'm filming most of the time, and then this fridge kicks on and off. It makes a little bit of noise, but other than that, shouldn't be too bad. So we're gonna get started, and basically the first step, the thing that I always do is on Sundays, is I get out a weekly grow sheet that has all my tasks, so I just cross them off as I go. Alright, so this is a weekly grow sheet. Let's see. So you're going to get these in your package, and this is for a twice weekly schedule, a Tuesday and a Friday harvest. I'll have one in there for just a Friday harvest, as many of you I know just do the Friday harvest. So basically we're just going to go through each day and do the tasks. The teal is for a Tuesday harvest, and then the fuchsia is for a Friday harvest. So that's how we know which task is for which. So today is Sunday. The first thing we're going to do in the AM is to sanitize and soak the sunflower and pea shoots. Okay, so as far as the sanitizing, that's something that I'm not going to get very specific on, just because I don't want any liability issues if you guys run into a problem. It's really kind of tricky to figure out at first, I felt like, because there's different methods you can try, and you don't know whether it's even really necessary. You might get some new seed in, some new sunflower seeds, and be able to grow them for a year without having a single issue. So as far as sanitizing go, do some research on your own. Make sure your trays are clean and sanitized no matter what. We use bleach we use hydrogen peroxide and vinegar. So that's just regular vinegar and then hydrogen peroxide. We use Food Safe. You actually buy it in concentrate form. So this is 35%, I think it is, and dilute it down to 3%. All of our trays get sanitized with that in a vinegar mix, a vinegar spray. You'll see that while we're doing it, but then everything in the grow room gets cleaned with the hydrogen peroxide and vinegar sanitizing. And then as far as the seed goes, just do a little research and do something figure out something that works for you. You might not need to. Your local ordinances might have a requirement that you do. You might have to do it in bleach. You might have to do it. You might do it in hydrogen peroxide and vinegar solution. You might do a strong solution. You might do a weak solution. You just need to try a few things and see what works. And if you're having problems with mold, make sure you're getting good airflow. Make sure your soil's good. And then you can, look more into sanitizing as long as that stuff's good. So that's the one thing I'm not going to show you here, but then we're going to move on to soaking. So down here's where we keep the buckets, where we do that in for the pea and sunflower. We just have one bucket for each. So I'm gonna now weigh out the seed, and we'll get those thrown in the bucket. Okay, so for the Tuesday farmers market, we really don't grow all that many microgreens, because we just do in the market on Tuesday, and we might have one or two restaurants need a little bit of a top up, but they usually don't need much. So our growth for Tuesday is fairly minimal. Right now we're doing 2 sunflowers, 2 peas, 1 radish, and 1 mixed microgreens salad mix. So we're gonna get the pea and the sunflower started soaking now, and then later on this evening we'll do some stuff for the salad mix and radish. Okay, let's weigh out some seed. I just use digital scale. Come over here. This is the sunflower and peas here. I always recommend, if you guys are storing, what we do with these 2 crops. See, a lot of our seeds are stored in here, in the fridge, and then in this one here. And the pea and the sunflower, they're just too big. We don't have a lot of room for them in there. Usually this fridge is even more full with some greens and stuff. But so we keep them in these containers. It's a little hot and humid in this room sometimes compared to the rest of the house, so we don't put too many. We just have about that many, and then if I order a big load of sunflowers or something, when I get a good batch of sunflowers I usually get quite a bit. So what we'll do is store them in our bedroom. We have a closet space in our bedroom where I'll store them, because that's the coolest room in our house. We keep that cooler at night than every other room too. So that's the scoop on that. So we're just gonna weigh these out. Get this going on here. Turned on to grams. Zeroed out. So we're zeroed out on grams, and we have 2 sunflowers to do, so that's just 300 grams. We'll get that out of here. That's getting a little low. I need to put some more in there. Mine going a little bit over, and then I'll go over in this bucket. That gets returned, and then we do about 300 to 330 grams, or to 350 on the peas. So we're looking at 600 to 700. I just try and get in between there. More around 600 is what I'm looking for right now. During the summer, I keep it more around 600, and in the winter I'll sow them a little more dense. So there's 2 peas. Alright, so that's that. Okay, so we're done with the sanitizing step now. Sorry you didn't get to see that. Like I said, ask people on the Facebook group and figure out a thing for yourself, and look into your local regulations and that type of stuff. So next step is just to fill up the buckets, or not fill up the buckets, but we just cover them with just so they have a good amount of fresh, clean water while they're soaking. And we're gonna do these for looking for around a 12-hour soak. And every once in a while the sunflowers will have some gnats or something. Fruit flies try and get in there, so I put the lid on there. I don't really seal it down very much, but this is the solid lid. And then for the peas, I use this lid. This is the lid I also use as a strainer, so it's a regular lid. We drilled a bunch of holes in the corner. So I'll just set that on there. I don't have the gnats really having much getting in there, causing any grief. And we cross that out. So that's it for this morning. If I'm in here doing this by myself, it just takes a couple minutes to get this step done. It's just real quick, and then I go off and have fun on Sundays. So that's it. I'll check in with you later. Okay, it's Sunday night and we're back in action. Got a few chores to do. Got to disinfect and seed in flats the peas, the sunflower, and the salad mix. Prep the radishes and place everything in germination. So I'll have to be putting the camera down on the tripod for quite a bit of this, so I'll try and move it around a couple different angles, so there'll be a few cuts in and out. But yeah, we're ready to get started. I'll get these strained here and I'll get this table prepped. What I do is I take this tarp. I just like to keep all the dirt off this table. It makes it easier. I have this little tarp here. I will get these strained. I get the lid on. I just have it on loosely, and just use the lid with the holes in it to strain them both. I usually like to give them a little rinse too. Just one rinse. And we'll get our table covered. And we'll get our flats out. Okay, now we're going to fill them up and keep my soil in this bin down under here. It's just a big bin, and I like to fill these things about half full. These are the 2-inch, I think it is. So I fill them about half full of compressed dirt. This is a peat moss mix. I use the Pro Mix, and my battery's gonna die. Hang on a second. Okay, so yeah, looks like I don't need any more soil right now, but I'll add some more soil so you can see what that looks like too after I'm done filling these. So we got all our trays lined up here on the tarp, and I do about a scoop and a half, or like 2 3/4 scoops in each one. Alright, now we're going to go through and just with my hands real quick, and I'm going to kind of level them out. So, real rough leveling. Okay, we're going to grab our soil press I keep down here. This is, you've seen this in the full tour. So we're just gonna press each one down. I usually use 2 hands to give them a nice firm press. Let me sit the camera down. Okay, now we're going to water them all except for the radish. We want to wait a day to water the radish. So keep one of the trays dry. We like to get them wet before we throw down the seeds. Okay, so we'll spread down. We'll put down our sunflower and our pea seeds, and then we'll move on to the radish and the salad mix. So I'm just basically, I know I have 2 trays of each in here, so I'm just kind of going. It's fairly easy to split them in half. I feel like when you just have 2, and I'll kind of show you what I do later on in the week on Wednesday when we have quite a bit more to do. But on Sunday nights, I'm just eyeballing it and trying to even them out, split them into 2. And we're just going to go through and even them out with our hands. And this is just eyeballing it and trying to get them mostly even. And if your distribution looks bad, like you got quite a bit more in one than the other, I'll take a little handful and spread it back onto the other one. That looks pretty good. So we just need to weigh those out. About 80 grams on the radish. And then we're going to go 60 to 70 on the salad mix. Get these guys spread out. Alright, we're going with the radish first, and you may have seen this in my other YouTube video, but I just have a little container and I kind of try and distribute it evenly, and I'm usually moving along it 2 or 3 times just to make sure I'm getting a good distribution. For some reason it's trickier to try and do it with the camera in my hand pointing it. Sorry guys. And same thing here with the mild mix. Okay, so we got all the seed down. Radish will stay there overnight, and the rest of them will get stacked. So we've got 6 trays. We're going to stack them 3 high. After we get our seed down, we want to water everything again. Okay, now we're just going to stack everything up in the germination area, except for the radish. So we've got 5 to stack. We always love the sunflowers to have the most weight on them, so we're going to put the 2 sunflowers on the bottom, and we'll put the salad mix on top. unslotted tray over top of that. And we're going to put our brick on top of each one inside the tray. Alright, so this is what we're left with. We've got a soil box. Can use a little more soil. Those will be dealt with tomorrow, the radish. We've got our trays stacked up here in the germination area. And we got a couple buckets sitting out. We're going to give a quick another rinse, get a few of those peas out of there, and then put those back. And the radish I'll set up here in the germination area so that I can clean up the tarp, pull that off and shake that outside so we don't have this dirt mess in here. And that'll be it for the night. Okay, so I just realized I didn't have the record button on for that first half of the soil. You can see it's down in there. And I just dumped this outside to get the debris off, and there wasn't much. And then now I'm going to record the second half here so you can actually see it. Sorry about that. The main thing is just breaking off chunks and trying not to let them get out of the sides before you start breaking more down. And then it's just a matter of breaking them up and stuff will kind of fall through. It's more about the reason I do this is more to get some of the bigger sticks out of there, because it's usually not very many that's left over. Make sure I'm recording this time. Okay. It's more about just breaking up all these chunks. I find that if I just dump the thing down in the bucket and then use my hand to break up the chunks, a lot of times I'll end up with a bunch when I fill up my flats. For whatever reason, you just miss some. So this ensures that everything's down to at least a ½ inch. This could be the largest size chunk is a ½ inch. I'm usually just left over with a few bigger pieces of sticks and stuff, so I'll just throw these out in the grass right outside the office. Here's what I was showing you too, how this thing, I just put these on the side so it locks on. And when you lift it up, you'll see that it's really wider than that, so I have to push, it kind of pinches the sides in so it stays on there pretty good. And that's about it for the day. So it usually makes a little bit of a soil mess when you do this, so I'm just going to throw this outside and pop the lid on it and sweep up and throw away the trash, and we'll be good for the day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for day one. Only a couple bloopers here in day one. Hopefully I'll start getting the hang of this by tomorrow, and I'll make sure I'm recording, and feel like I screwed up a couple other things, but I can't think of it right now. Alright.